And now, Newsline 9 continues with Angela Buckaloo and Brady Bruce.
The GOP presidential hopefuls want your vote today. The long-awaited Super Tuesday is here. And it could be a long wait for General Motors workers. Oklahoma City's plant workers aren't going in today, along with 50,000 others. Also, our wait, of course, for relief goes on this morning. Another day of grass fires eats up more Oklahoma land. Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Angela Buckaloo. Of course, we've been talking about it for weeks now. And again, we must say it. Boy, do we need some rain. To check out that, Paul Bouchereau joins us in for Brady Bruce this morning. Our chances for rain looking a little better.
At least not down the line, sure. It looks like Thursday we may see a few showers and thunderstorms around here, but I'll tell you what, take it so carefully out there because it is going to be extremely dry, not only today but also tomorrow, and the winds are going to be cranking up as well.
Doesn't help.
No. Around the state for today, sunshine around here, maybe some high clouds, and that's about it. Those winds will be cranking from the south at about 20 to 40 miles per hour, and temperatures a little bit warmer than yesterday. Most of the state will see temperatures into the 70s, 60s across the northeast. Looks like the Alta should top out at 75. Likewise for Guyman. Didn't paint that one red. That one slipped by me. At 4 o'clock in the morning, a lot of things slip by.
I know the feeling.
It looks like we may even be warmer still and just as windy for tomorrow before we see any relief on Thursday, if indeed we get that.
So that burn ban continues.
It does.
Thank you, Paul. Now to news this morning. Super Tuesday is here. Oklahomans voice their presidential preferences today. Oklahoma will join 6 other states in holding primaries, including Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. 362 delegates are up for grabs. Republican frontrunner Bob Dole is predicting a 7-state sweep. That isn't slowing down Pat Buchanan, however. He spread across the Sooner State vying for last-minute votes. Buchanan told Oklahomans at a rally last night at Christian Heritage Academy that Dole is beatable.
And if there's anyone we're going to do it, I believe it's Oklahoma.
Earlier in the day, Buchanan spoke at a rally at a Republican headquarters in Tulsa.
I never try to count my chickens before they're hatched.
By the end of the day, GOP candidate Bob Dole may be untouchable. Dole moved through Florida and Texas yesterday with the hope for dominating the vote today. He has a comfortable lead in all 7 primary states. But even if he is on the road to the nomination, Steve Forbes and Pat Buchanan will make sure it's not a smooth one.
Any speculation is just that, totally unauthorized. I'm in for the duration.
Steve Forbes says he's going to the Republican convention in San Diego no matter how many delegates he ends up with. He was fast at work campaigning in Florida the past 3 days. Forbes heads into Super Tuesday hoping to shed some light on his sputtering presidential campaign. The Republican convention is still 5 months away, but voting today could determine the likely outcome. Nearly 1/3 of the votes needed for the GOP nomination are up for grabs today. Of course, also on the ballot, controversial state question 669. It is an amendment to the Constitution that would roll back property taxes and change the way property taxes can be increased. Supporters of 669 say it would take control of tax hikes away from politicians and protect elderly homeowners from tax increases that would force them out of their homes. Opponents say it would hurt schools and libraries, make it harder to buy and sell a home, and would mostly benefit ranchers and other big property owners. Polls open at 7 this morning and close at 7 tonight. We'll have complete election coverage for you from the ballot box to the final vote count. Look for updates throughout the day and into the evening, including live reports tonight from watch parties for and against 669 right here on Newsline 9. Cushing residents fear a private prison might cause havoc in their town. Residents vote today on a $35 million private prison to be built on city land. Supporters say it will bring in more than 200 jobs and a $4 million annual payroll. But opponents are worried about the safety of their children, quality of life, and property values. Oklahoma City's GM plant is closed, leaving about 4,300 workers out of work. This is the first time in the plant's 17-year history that workers have had to stop due to a GM strike. Other stoppages have happened due to rail strikes. Workers got most of their pay then, but this time after the last checks Friday, workers will be eligible for unemployment. Most don't seem to mind, though.
You got to stand behind the union. If you don't stand behind it, you don't have nothing to stand on. We'll be working for Mexico wages.
Yeah, I got to go along with the union.
Hire the ASAP?
Yeah, it'll help us on the long run. Might hurt right now, but on the long run, it'll help.
Well, something's got to be done. They got to stop sourcing out jobs, and if we don't walk, we don't have a job eventually anyways.
This plant makes the Buick Century and Olds Cutlass Sierra. The last of the cars will be shipped out in about 2 days. But workers say dealers shouldn't feel the pinch for those models since they have a surplus. But that's not the case with other more popular models made in different areas of the United States. The supply of GMC Yukons at the end of February was only 26 days worth. And there is just a 49-day supply of Saturns. Generally, a 60-day supply is considered ideal. But for the rest of the GM models, there is no worry. The supply is well over 60 days. The automaker could lose $250 million a week if all of its 29 car and truck assembly plants in North America are shut down. One of the biggest General Motors plants hurt by the shutdown is in Spring Hill, Tennessee. The Saturn plant there employs 8,200 workers who've now run out of brake parts for their cars. But while the plant has halted production, workers there are keeping busy with maintenance assignments and training. Warm temperatures and high winds combined for more days of high fire danger in Oklahoma. Wildfires burned around the metro and other parts of the state. Statewide yesterday, there were 41 wildfires that blackened 2,100 acres of land. There were still 3 fires burning late last night, and they were in eastern Oklahoma. Forestry officials are working to put those out. Also, embers were glowing well into the night near State Highway 74 and Charter Oak Road, where a grass fire broke out yesterday. In Shawnee, more than a dozen wildfires there are all believed to have been deliberately set. A Pottawatomie County Deputy Sheriff went up in our Ranger 9 to try to spot the arsonist. At one point, 5 fires were burning all at once. A barn burned, destroying a tractor, but no homes were lost and no one was hurt. Shawnee residents are upset someone would deliberately endanger their property and their lives. Shawnee firefighters got help from surrounding cities and volunteers, and by the way, they are still searching for that arsonist. An update now on a fire that burned out of control last month in Shawnee. This fire at a dairy warehouse is still under investigation today. Fire investigators believe this fire was started by an arsonist as well. 3 people were seen leaving the warehouse just before the fire broke out. The flames brought the building to the ground. It took more than 75 firefighters to put out those flames. And remember, a huge range fire that started in Oklahoma and then spread to Kansas? Well, now some landowners in Beaver County and some southern Kansas counties say an electrical line is to blame for those fires. They claim an electrical cooperative based in Hooker didn't maintain a power transmission line in Beaver County, and they think the faulty line sparked the flames. $10 million in damage have been reported from this fire. 11 homes were lost and 100,000 acres of prairie land scorched. Landowners filed lawsuits against Tri-County Electrical Cooperative Incorporated. Well, coming up next on Newsline 9, Paul Bouchereau back with a look at our work week forecast. Also coming up, space junk becomes ocean junk. We'll explain. And back to school for kids in Wisconsin. The threat of an explosion will not stop their learning.
You're watching Newsline 9 with Angela Buckaloo and Brady Bruce with the weather.
Man, you're looking at it. High winds in North Carolina made sailing nasty for 2 East Coast boaters. They were happy to see a Coast Guard rescue helicopter when seas started to swell to 20 feet. Yesterday, the National Weather Service issued a storm and flood warning for East Coast cities from New York all the way down to Miami. Winds are expected to increase up to 50 miles per hour today. Boy, don't we feel their pain here in Oklahoma. Our winds have been gusting, only we don't have floods to deal with. Of course, we have wildfires.
Yeah, you're not going to hear surfs up around Oklahoma very often, do you?
If you do, then, man, you better worry.
That's true. You know those winds are cranking out there. But, yeah, we're going to be seeing the winds once again, probably not to 50 miles an hour, but just a tad underneath that. With the humidity's way down there and the sunshine, it looks just like a tinderbox out there.
Be careful.
Yep, we have to be careful. And we will have to be careful mainly because of those winds. They're going to be cranking once again. In Oklahoma, they're still rather brisk for this time of the morning. We have clear skies, 43 degrees. Southeast winds at 18 miles per hour. That's a fairly good breeze for this time of the morning. 53% on the humidity and our pressure going down. Update on the numbers around the state. Some folks going up, some folks going down. Ponca City up about 3 degrees to 47. And even it's beginning to warm up a little bit at Durant and Idabel. Finally out of the 30s. 42 over at Idabel. Still 48 for the warmest coming in at McAllister. Kind of chilly over at Sallisaw with 36 degrees. 45 in Miami. Still 32 way out at Guyman, so kind of cold out in the Panhandle, and temperatures have slipped maybe a degree or two out in the western part of the state. Winds are still fairly brisk, anywhere from about 10 to 20. And you'll notice they'll gradually pick up as we get into lunchtime and be fairly strong between lunchtime and about dinner time. So a very windy day across all of Oklahoma. In fact, those winds will be hitting us from the south at about 20 to 40 miles per hour. And we'll have abundant sunshine with just some high clouds. And maybe with those southeasterly winds, we could get a little of that moisture up out of Texas and Louisiana to kind of draw itself up towards Oklahoma, because that's what we need. We need that deep, low moisture to get the showers and a few thunderstorms going. But with the sunshine and the warm temperatures are going to be fairly uniform, right around 70 degrees for most folks, maybe a little warmer over to Altus as well as Guyman with 75 degrees, and a little cooler up towards the northeast with temperatures in the 60s. But this is usually what you see when you have a windy day, everybody within about 4 or 5, maybe 6 degrees of each other. Satellite view, well, there's the storm system we talked about earlier for the Carolinas. It's going to be producing the strong winds in the Carolinas, Virginia's up towards New York and then through much of New England, and spreading a little bit of rain across those states as well. But once you get past, say, Richmond, everything begins to clear out. We have a little bit of light snow in the Minnesota, Wisconsin, Great Lakes area, but that is very, very light. Very few clouds around, and all the clouds that we do have are generally high clouds, not going to bring any rain to any parts of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, or Louisiana. But hopefully with the southerly winds that are beginning to be drawn into this storm system that's way out here in the west, out towards California and Nevada, maybe we can get some of the moisture that's over towards the Gulf of Mexico on into the states. So that's something we'll be watching very, very closely. The storm does have a lot of energy, and that's one thing we need to get the moisture to come back up. You can see the small clouds right in here across Arizona and New Mexico. They're really whipping on off to the east, and so that's an indication that we do have some good energy in this storm system, and it's moving slowly, and that's another thing in our favor. The slower it moves, the better chances it has to open up the Gulf. Now, we'll be seeing temperatures very, very warm down across Texas. In fact, Dallas should hit 75 for today, 70 over at Albuquerque, and a fairly warm day even in the Denver area with 66 degrees. Cools off as you make your way eastward, only 58 at Kansas City, 64 in Memphis, and a chilly 40 way up at Minneapolis. A little bit of light snow just on off to their east and off to our west. And a lot of rain, especially across California, Nevada, and portions of Utah, and maybe some of that moisture will make its way. But this is specific moisture, and once it comes down out of the mountains, you usually get that drying effect as you come down out of the mountains on into the lower plains. That's why we're going to be seeing a very, very dry day today, and we're going to be seeing the drying continuing. 72 for Tuesday, or at least for today. Wednesday, 75, and a slight chance for rain on Thursday as well as Sunday. So finally, we're beginning to see not just one day where we have a chance of rain, now two. So the systems will be coming about every 3 or 4 days. The forecast for Oklahoma for today, sunshine and another windy day and very dry with south winds gusting over 40 miles per hour, especially in the west. And everybody should see temperatures into the 70s except for the northeast. Now for tonight, clear and mild, kind of breezy once again. They'll die down to about 10 to 20 and continuing that southerly direction. And temperatures mostly in the 40s, but a few 50s sneaking in there. For tomorrow, just a few clouds around, but lots of wind once again. Another gusty day as we hit temperatures near 80 degrees in the western part of the state and 75. Notice those temperatures, how they're so much more. We should be into the 60s. 20 degrees warmer is an indication how dry. Not only the ground, because the ground is warming up a lot quicker, but also dry air warms up much quicker than moist air.
Man, such a problem.
It's a never-ending circle.
Yes, it is. Well, don't you know, Paul, the drought of '96 reminds many people of the dry conditions that existed during the Dust Bowl days of the 1930s. In fact, it is estimated, Paul, that 4 million acres of wheat was lost in the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles during the Great Dust Bowl. Cimarron County didn't harvest a single grain of wheat one year and lost half of its population. People who lived in northwestern Oklahoma back in those days can still picture the dust. Well, join us tomorrow night at 7 o'clock for a special look at how the drought is dashing the hopes of Oklahoma farmers again this year. Chief Meteorologist Gary England hosts Newsline 9 documentary, which is called From Dust to Dust. Here again, that is at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And I tell you, I've seen some of the video from up in northern Oklahoma and such, and it's just tragic. It's amazing video, though. Be sure to join us 7 o'clock tomorrow. A chunk of space garbage fell to the Earth last night as you were going to bed. U.S. Space Command says what's left of a Chinese satellite re-entered the Earth's atmosphere just about 10 o'clock Oklahoma time last night. The piece of satellite is about the size of a Volkswagen. The satellite was expected to survive its fall through the atmosphere because it has built-in heat shields. Scientists tracked it into the Atlantic Ocean. Tensions in Southeast Asia are on the rise as more American warships head towards the Taiwan Strait. China is about to begin live-fire war games in the area, but they appear to be more than just games. China is apparently trying to intimidate Taiwan's independent-minded president, who's hesitating at reunification with the communist mainland. Chinese officials, for their part, say they hope a peaceful reunification but they have not ruled out the use of force. Some good news for parents in Wyomega, Wisconsin. Their kids are going back to school. Last week, the entire population, as you know, was evacuated after several train cars containing propane derailed. Classrooms will be scattered in different locations across the town. While students hit the books, technicians continue to pump liquid propane from the cars into a pit to prevent explosion. It could be a couple more weeks before residents are allowed back into their homes. In Little Rock, testimony should begin today in the Whitewater trial. Opening statements began yesterday in the trial of Arkansas Governor Jim Guy Tucker and Susan and James McDougal. They are accused of taking $3 million in illegal loans. A witness for the prosecution claims as governor, Bill Clinton pressured him to make some of those loans. The defense says that witness is lying to get a lighter sentence. Bill Teagans has our sports. That's right after this. Stay tuned.
And now, Newsline 9 Sports with Bill Teagans.
Hi, everybody. The times are now set for the NCAA tournament games. You'll be able to see the big dance right here on TV9 beginning on Thursday. Both Oklahoma and Tulsa are playing Friday morning. Unfortunately, at the same time, the Sooners take on Temple in Orlando, Florida. 11:25 a.m. is tip-off. Tulsa and Louisville from Milwaukee at 11:30 in the morning. As you know, the Sooners are busy getting ready for the Temple Owls. Chris Harrison caught up with them at practice yesterday.
Sunday evening, it was time to celebrate. The Sooners off the bubble and in the tournament. That celebration is now giving way to preparation as the Sooners get ready for what's going to be a very tough first-round game against Temple.
Our kids know how good Temple is. They saw them beat Villanova, they saw them beat Kansas, and they saw them lead UMass by 10 the other day. So we have to really be on top of our game and play well. They're so much bigger and stronger than we are inside, so we're going to try to make it as much a perimeter game as we can.
Last year, Oklahoma was a heavy favorite over unknown Manhattan. This year, the Sooners are the underdog, and they like that role.
Most people around don't expect us to win, but we're going to try to show them that we are a good team, and we're going to try to win this game.
Pressure's kind of off us. We can relax and just go out and play, and we don't have to worry about what the critics say or whatever. So we just go out and play our basketball.
Last year, the Sooners made it to the big dance, and they were happy to be there. This year, just making it isn't good enough.
Win a couple games and keep going, and just get, like we said, get the young guys involved and show them what's going on so they can do the same thing in the following years.
Chris Harrison, Sportsline 9.
And that's a look at sports. Hope you have a good Tuesday.
Thank you, Bill. Skiing and maple trees. Yes, they go together in Vermont. And why? Because the governor and several dozen school children are doing so. They are going out to tap maple trees. Take a look. The governor tapped on the first tree. He gathered the sap and was talented enough to bring it all the way down the hill without spilling a drop. Way to go. Although the temperature was above the freezing mark, very little sap has been seen dripping from the tree, and sugar makers are not making any predictions on the outcome of the season, but they are optimistic. That guy's pretty talented. Not only is he governor, he can ski down a tree with maple syrup. Doggy dentures. What has dentistry come to? Well, veterinary dentists say to get your pets in for a checkup. Veterinarians say if your pet doesn't have healthy teeth and gums, it may not be healthy overall. 80 to 90% of cats and dogs will get periodontal disease in their lifetime. So pet dentistry is evolving to include root canals, implants, and yes, dentures. Vets say to brush your pet's teeth at least 3 times a week and have them cleaned once a year. The cost for cleaning is approximately $135 depending on your vet. It certainly would take care of that doggy breath everybody hates.
$135. Wow.
Woohoo! That's quite a lot to get your...
Yeah, consider it only costs, what, about $60?
You know, I was about to bring that up. That it doesn't cost that much to get your own teeth cleaned.
And we have insurance, too. You know, insurance for the dog.
Now we're going to have pet insurance now for dentistry and such.
Good idea.
A new market.
I may become an underwriter. We're going to be seeing mostly sunny skies for today. You'll be able to see those bright white teeth with all the sunshine. 72 degrees today, 75 for tomorrow, 50 degrees. Yes, we need the rain, and there we do have a chance for it on Thursday as well as Sunday. 2 days That's incredible on the 7-day. We haven't.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of days here where we haven't had any chance for rain in the entire 7-day. Now we have 2. That's good news because it looks like the storm systems are about 3 or 4 days apart, which still means we have a chance in there if we can just get some of those clouds to produce a little rain.
I don't know what we can do as far as that goes, but I sure wish somebody
would
do
do something.
something.
Cloud seeding.
Thank you, Paul. Terry Bellows has our traffic report. That's right after this. It is 6:58. Terry Bellows joins us with a look at our metro traffic. Terry.
Hi, good morning, Angela. The drive to work looks as if it's going to be green lights and smooth sailing with no accidents or delays. Our interstates are still working with a fairly light load. The crosstown of I-40 eastbound from Tinker across to Fort Smith and Dallas Junction is picking up volume, but the pace is comfortable as we head all into work. As you leave the house, prepare for no major delays. Looks good. For TV9 Traffic, I'm Terry Bellows. Angela?
Thank you so much, Terry. In just a few minutes, the polls will open across the Sooner State. Several issues are on the ballot. GOP presidential candidates, of course, want your vote today. Oklahoma is one of the 7 states taking part in Super Tuesday. But a more heated issue is here as well. The state question 669. It is an amendment to the Constitution that would roll back property taxes and change the way property taxes can be increased. Look for updates throughout the day and into the evening, including live reports tonight from watch parties of those for and against 669. So I guess by tomorrow morning, this time we'll know how all of this works out.
Very interesting question. You really have to do a lot of reading on it
Yes,
because
you
it's
do.
very complicated.
It is very, very complicated.
So, and the weather's kind of, well, it really isn't.
Not.
It's pretty simple.
What are you saying? It's just going to be dry and warm
Job
and windy.
security. As long as I pump it up, then they.
Job security.
But it's going to be another dry day. It's dry out there right now. We do have some high clouds around, but all in all, it's just going to be a sunny day. Temperatures to start your morning, 30s out in the Panhandle, 32 over at Guyman, and 36 over at Salisaw. The warmest coming in at McAllister at 48 degrees, and the winds are still up around 10 to 20 miles per hour, and they'll crank up at about 20 to 40 with lots of sunshine. There are those numbers for today, 70s and 60s.
Job security. Thanks for filling in for Brady today,
Sure.
Paul. We'll see you tomorrow.